The Fox 56 10 o'clock news starts now.
We know enough to say that this was an act of terror and an act of hate.
They heard about 20 shots.
Get out of here.
Oh my God.
My son hasn't been heard from, so I don't know if he was left in the club, if he got shot.
It was just like a scene from a horror movie.
I think we have to continue to explain to people this is the new face of the war on terror.
The most important thing we can do right now is pray for everybody.
People across the country continue to mourn the victims of Sunday's devastating shooting in Florida. Good evening, I'm Erica Abe. Investigators in Florida are working around the clock to piece together what led up to Sunday's deadly terrorist attack at Pulse nightclub in Orlando. While the FBI is calling it terrorism, there's no evidence that the shooter, 29-year-old Omar Mateen, was ordered by the group to carry out the attack. Tonight, investigators are digging deeper into Mateen's past. Fox News correspondent Joel Waldman is in Orlando with the latest. First on Fox.
Authorities are now trying to figure out if anyone helped the gunman who massacred 49, injuring dozens more, throwing a curveball into the investigation.
It was an attack motivated by hatred and intolerance, whether it was directly directed by, ISIL, or whether he was simply radicalized or motivated by ISIL. We just don't know at this point.
29-year-old Omar Mateen opened fire on the crowded nightclub early Sunday morning. He then took hostages before being shot dead by SWAT members after a 3-hour standoff. And officials say while the shooter's exact intentions are still unclear, the fact he targeted a gay nightclub is relevant to the investigation.
We're working to understand what role anti-gay bigotry may have played in motivating this attack. An attack that occurred during the very month when we recognize and celebrate our LGBT brothers and sisters.
The FBI says they found no evidence the gunman had direct contact with Islamic State militants, instead describing him as a homegrown extremist.
It appears that the shooter was inspired by various extremist information that was disseminated over the internet. At this stage, we see no clear evidence that he was directed externally.
Investigators are also looking into reports that Mateen may have first targeted another site in Orlando, Disney World. In Orlando, Joel Waldman, Fox News.
As friends and family continue to mourn the 49 lives lost, we've learned that one of those victims had ties to Central Kentucky. Friends tell us 29-year-old Daryl Roman Burt II spent most of his childhood in Georgetown. Most recently, he lived in Jacksonville, Florida. Monique Blair is live in the newsroom. Monique, how are Burt's co-workers in Florida remembering him?
Well, Erica, those who loved him have described Daryl Roman Burt II as smart and well-mannered with a big personality. And just hours before he was shot at Pulse nightclub in Orlando, he graduated with his master's degree. Today, we also learned Burt spent several of his younger years growing up in Georgetown. A Georgetown pastor told us Burt came from a really good family, a family that was very active in church. Until Sunday, Burt worked at Kaiser University in Jacksonville as a financial aid officer, working with the school's military students. University President Lisa Marie Winslow says everyone at the school is still trying to come to grips that one of their own was a victim in the Orlando shooting. Burt was also a member of the Jacksonville Jaycees, a group that, according to its Facebook page, is dedicated to fun and community service. The organization posted on Facebook saying it would hold a moment of silence for Burt during their meeting Monday night.
It's the community as a whole that's grieving and going through this, dealing with the shock and the aftermath.
Now, a spokesperson for the Burt family here in Kentucky says his mom and dad are simply asking for prayers right now. In the newsroom, Monique Blair for the Fox 56 10 o'clock news.
A Madison County church paid tribute to Burt and the other 48 victims tonight. St. Mark Catholic Church in Richmond held a special mass to pray for the families affected. People of all faiths were invited to attend. Garrett Weimer continues our team coverage from Madison County.
The Paschal candle sits at the altar from Easter until Pentecost. Other than that, only for baptisms and funerals. It was lit on Monday night.
Those women and men who were mowed down on Sunday morning, we're all made in the image and likeness of the God we profess.
They read the names of lives lost in Orlando, prayed for family members left behind.
Hate what is evil. Hold on to what is good.
From the pulpit, Father Jim said if certain steps aren't taken, there will be more senseless tragedies like the shooting in Orlando. Among those steps, Father Jim called for a ban on assault weapons like the AR-15 used in Sunday's slaughter.
My prayer today is that God will have mercy on America.
More than 6 dozen people showed up to stand united with Orlando.
I'm an American and I refuse to be intimidated by fanatics.
The service ended by singing words so fitting at a time like this. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. In Richmond, I'm Garrett Weimer for the Fox 56 10 o'clock news.
There was also a vigil in Frankfort today at Kentucky State University's Outlet Center. Students and administrators at KSU gathered at the flagpole where the American flag was flying at half-staff this afternoon. At 2:02, they held a moment of silence. The first shots in the Orlando attack were at 2:02 Sunday morning. During the vigil, interim president Aaron Thompson talked about the importance of embracing differences among people.
That we all have different thoughts, different feelings. We make up different social elements of our society, different racial elements, different all kinds of elements. How do we learn from that? How do we grow from that? How do we learn from people that are different from us?
The university is offering counseling services at the Betty White Health Center to anyone who might need it. Now, this shooting comes less than 2 weeks before Lexington's Pride Festival. Today, organizers of the event met with police to talk about security plans for the festival. Kristen Kennedy takes a look at the city's plans.
The chief of police says there is no question you'll now see more officers downtown during the Pride Festival.
People expect that because just the time that we're going through. We just are going through an event that we had a huge hate crime last year in Charleston, down at Mother Emanuel. Within a week, we have another hate crime that's come up in Orlando.
Sunday morning shooting inside a gay nightclub in Orlando sent shock and heartache across the nation. With Lexington less than 2 weeks away from hosting an annual Pride Festival, organizers are being extra cautious.
There will be people on the ground keeping an eye out. There will be more police officers there keeping an eye out.
Christopher Bauer is expecting more than 25,000 people to attend this year's event. He says this will be the safest in their 9 years.
People need to come out, not just LGBT people, but allies and the rest of the community need to come out and show that this community is supportive of everybody, and that this community stands up for what's right, and that this community will not stand for something like that happening here.
The event will run 11 to 9, Saturday, June 25th. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy for the Fox 56 10 o'clock news.
The Pride Festival will be held on the grounds of the Fayette County Courthouse. Remember, you can follow this story and all the national reaction online. We will post updates on foxlexington.com. Well, if you thought today was warm, stick around. We'll be seeing more of the steamy temperatures. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has a first look at the forecast.
You know, today was kind of the calm between two steamy periods. Over the weekend, we had some 90s. We got 90s coming up as we go into the next couple of days. Low humidity out there today, allowing temperatures to only reach the low 80s into parts of eastern Kentucky. It's a little cooler here. Prestonsburg 66, 74 Lexington. We hit the upper 90s in a couple of isolated spots into western Kentucky earlier today. Not talking about anything like that, but 90 plus a good possibility. Fox radar picture for now, central and eastern Kentucky, nothing going on. Though look at our thunderstorms that have been trying to crank here western Kentucky and especially into parts of Illinois. That is working toward the east and the northeast as the steamy temperatures bring an increase in the scattered thunderstorm threat. So if you're hitting the pool tomorrow, hey, it's a good day for the temperatures, but watch out for a booming thunderstorm, especially late afternoon heading into the evening. Coming up here in a few minutes, Erica will show you with a new hour by hour why storm chances really begin to ramp up for the middle of the week.
All right, thanks, Chris. They're heading back to class, and on the syllabus, drones.
That spillage over the side bends your relative wind.
We'll take you to drone school after the break.
Savor something. Minute Digger Injury Lawyers.
It's the first of its kind, a class on drones. A group is spending the next few days in Moorhead to learn more about the unmanned aircraft. Mike Linden takes us to flight school, drone style.
That spillage over the side bends your relative wind.
Today is the first day of flight school for a group in Moorhead, but there's a catch. They won't be going into the air themselves. Welcome to drone school.
We're actually teaching them the knowledge that they're going to need to go to the FAA to take the license that they're coming out with for this drone pilot certificate.
The 4-day class at the State Fire Rescue Training Center in Moorhead is the first of its kind from Unmanned Services, Inc. And there's a lot to learn in 4 days.
Drones could be as simple as you can buy one and fly it as a toy, and they're becoming very simple to fly, to if you're going to use them for commercial uses, for mapping, learning geospatial information, learning how to inspect stuff in thermal imaging for heat signatures where there's hot spots.
Stiles says that when he broke into the drone business 5 years ago, he couldn't even imagine how far the technology would go. But now with the power of the cameras on the bottom of even commercial drones, well, the sky's the limit for the technology.
While some may hear the word drone and immediately think about those used by the military, students say there's nothing to be afraid of.
Then they hear a key word and it brings up certain images and they key on that. But if they think about it, a car is dangerous, but people drive them all the time and don't think about it. And these are less dangerous than an automobile.
In Moorhead, Mike Linden for the Fox 56 10 o'clock news.
Another class will open up this August. The 4-day course costs $1,500 for commercial users. You're watching Fox 56, your primetime news source. You can like us on Facebook at Fox Lexington. Still ahead, Broadway pays its respects. We'll show you how the Tony Awards honor the victims of Sunday's shooting in Orlando.
Showers and thunderstorms beginning to flare up to our west. Up next, we'll time those into central and eastern Kentucky with a new hour-by-hour forecast.
The All-American Fair Shop.
Welcome back in, everybody, on a beautiful summertime day. Does anything say summer in Kentucky better than a picture like this? Got one of the first hay cuttings in. You got the bales of hay, blue skies over Kentucky, toasty temperatures. That's summertime. To the west of us, look at Owensboro right now. It is 86 degrees. They were mid and upper 90s in a few spots into western Kentucky today, while we barely hit 80 into eastern Kentucky. A little weak front across the Bluegrass State from northwest to southeast, moving back to the northeast, allowing some warmer air to come back at us. It'll turn steamy again tomorrow. Fox radar picture late this evening. Nothing going on locally, but on the leading edge of the hot stuff. Look out across parts of Illinois, Indiana, and earlier in the day, western Kentucky had some thunderstorms. What that's doing, that is lifting its way back to the northeast. So all that hot, humid air that has been to our west today is going to push back in as we go through the next few days. It will also fuel some potent thunderstorms that will go up over the course of the next 2 or 3 days as well. You want to see a crazy temperature map? 56 right now, Buffalo. We're into the 40s into parts of New England, while the Plain States, Mississippi Valley, into the western Ohio Valley, absolutely sizzling out there today with a lot of 90s. So that cool air to the northeast just giving us a little shot of it today. Nice start tomorrow, much more humidity. Storm or two into the afternoon as temperatures make a run toward 90 degrees. Tomorrow morning, eastern Kentucky, you're down into the 50s. Everybody else 60 or better. Noontime, mid-80s. Good shot at 90 before a storm goes up where you live tomorrow afternoon. So much juice in the atmosphere tomorrow. Any storm that goes up can put down a ton of rain, have a lot of lightning too. Later Wednesday, got to watch Wednesday evening for a potent band of thunderstorms that's going to try to drop in from almost north to south, northwest to southeast. That may have some damaging winds like that. Typically on the cusp of some heat like what we're seeing across the Plain States, Mississippi Valley especially right now, you can get some big-time wind makers for thunderstorms, and that may put Kentucky in the line of fire later Wednesday. A 90 again on Thursday. One more storm chance Friday. That may get on out of town, leaving us with a very nice weekend right now with a big East Coast storm. So if you've got some vacation plans to the East Coast later this weekend or the weekend, it may be ugly for you there, but that ugly storm may mean nice weather for the Bluegrass State.
Look, we don't want ugly here. We're looking for pretty.
I'll be in the Bluegrass State, so I'm hoping for the nice weather. Sorry, folks heading to the East Coast.
Okay, all right. Hey, weather's the weather. What can you do?
That's exactly right.
All right, thanks, Chris.
You bet.
A Paisley Park Graceland and Spirits win the box office. It's all in tonight's Look Inside Entertainment.
You are not on your own right now. Your tragedy is our tragedy.
Sunday's Tony Awards were dedicated to all of those affected by the mass shooting in Orlando. Host James Corden and several of the winners talked about the attack in their speeches.
The Tony goes to Hamilton.
And it was no surprise which show took home the most trophies, as hip-hop biography Hamilton won 11 awards, including Best Musical, Best Actor, and Best Score. Prince's Minneapolis Paisley Park estate may be turned into a tourist attraction. The company overseeing the complex is exploring the idea. Those close to the rocker said the singer wanted to turn his home into his version of Graceland. Horror sequel The Conjuring 2 took the top spot at the box office this weekend, earning more than $40 million. The video game-inspired Warcraft came in a distant second with $24.4 million, and Now You See Me 2 followed with $23 million. That's tonight's Look Inside Entertainment.
Still ahead, the presidential candidates weigh in on the deadly shooting in Orlando. And 2 Kentucky lawmakers address the shooting, why Congressman Andy Barr says gun control should not be their focus.
This portion of the 10 o'clock news.
Just a day after the nation's deadliest mass shooting, lawmakers in D.C. are calling for change. That tops tonight's Fox 56 News Notes. 2 Kentucky lawmakers currently in Washington, D.C. talked about the attacks today. From the Senate floor, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said the country is supporting the victims and their families.
This terrorist sought to spread fear and sadness and suffering. Yet, even amidst the horror, he couldn't destroy our common bonds of humanity. Every act of compassion, every outstretched arm to a friend, every calming word to a stranger. A response to his cruel ideology.
6th District Congressman Andy Barr says he wants the country to focus on fighting the Islamic State, not gun control.
If it wasn't an AR-15, it would have been a bomb that this man strapped to his chest and walked into this and killed these innocent people.
Senator Bob Casey, a Democrat from Pennsylvania, has introduced new legislation that would keep guns out of the hands of those who commit criminal acts based on hate. The presidential candidates quickly shifted gears after the horrific shooting massacre in Orlando. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump both addressed the situation today. They presented different approaches on counterterrorism and gun control. Trump again said he wants to ban foreign-born Muslims from entering the United States, while Clinton said the government needs to work with Muslim Americans to stop lone wolf attacks. Florida Senator Marco Rubio seemed open the door to running for re-election today. Today, Rubio was asked if the shootings has changed his decision not to seek another term. Rubio said he didn't want to tie any political decision to the shooting, but he said he and his family will pray about it. Republican leaders have been lobbying Rubio for more than a month to run again for his Senate seat in November. He has until the 24th of June to file for re-election. Still to come on Fox 56, deputies in southern Kentucky are looking for 3 people wanted for shooting a man and then robbing him. Plus, the 5th day of trials is in the books for a Lexington murder case, and jurors got to look at evidence prosecutors say shows how the victim was killed.
Pretty big day in sports, especially for the UK baseball Wildcats. Nick Mangione named the new head coach. The former UK assistant under John Cohen comes back home a decade after leaving. Also, we go to Kentucky Speedway, where there are no more bumps. What do the drivers think of that? John Calipari also put to a unique committee for the NCAA tournament. I'll tell you about it in the Fox 56 Sports Extra.
You're watching the Fox 56 10 o'clock news with Marvin Bartlett, Erica Abe, Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey, and Brian Milam on sports.
Today was the 5th day of testimony in the trial of a man accused of killing a Lexington man and stuffing his body in a barrel. Police charged Mark Taylor with murder and kidnapping in the 2013 death of Alex Johnson. Much of the testimony today focused on Johnson's injuries and how he died. And as Victor Puente tells us, the jury also saw the barrel that police say Johnson's body was in.
For the first time in this trial, witnesses for the defense took the stand. Two different men told jurors that Timothy Ballard, the man charged with Mark Taylor, told them he was a killer. The day started with prosecutors bringing in the barrel that was pulled from the Kentucky River with Alex Johnson's body inside.
The head was towards the bottom, and his knees were bent and sort of out. When we opened that part, or when I looked in, that part that had been opened, you could see his feet.
That medical examiner's testimony included graphic photos of the injuries to Alex Johnson's head. She said he had a fractured skull and neck and multiple cuts and bruises.
20-something on the head. And so the first part is to document where those each are located.
Last week, Timothy Ballard testified that he had helped Mark Taylor put the body in the barrel after Taylor had beat Johnson to death. That testimony was part of his plea deal to kidnapping and tampering with physical evidence. Today, two men who had served time with Ballard told jurors he had said he was a killer.
He said they ain't got me with nothing but tampering. He said, man, I took a slapjack and beat dude's face off with a slapjack.
He's like, man, I'm gonna kill dude for real. He's like, but I can't take that kind of time. I'm not gonna take that charge. That guy's, and that dude's young, he can handle it, he can handle that kind of charge. He may see the streets again. I won't ever see the streets again.
Prosecutors say surveillance video shows that Ballard was driving Taylor's car when Taylor attacked Johnson in the back seat. That car was sold for scrap about 10 days after Johnson was killed. In Lexington, Victor Puente, Fox 56 10 o'clock news.
Police say money and marijuana were the motives for the murder. Ballard testified that he and Taylor took $40,000 from Johnson's apartment after he was killed. Some new information to pass along tonight. Winchester police are asking for help finding a witness who left the scene of a deadly crash last week. Police say a driver became blinded by lights, causing his car to hit two other cars at the intersection of the bypass and Colby Road Tuesday night. They say two women in one of those cars died. Police say they're looking for the driver of a dark passenger car who was turning onto Colby Road from the bypass at the time of the crash. They say the car is possibly a Nissan Altima and it has tinted windows. They think the driver could give them more information about the crash. Deputies in Laurel County believe a young girl set up a man to be robbed in his own home. And during that robbery, deputies say the man ended up getting shot. It happened Friday night in the Keevee community. The victim was then taken to the hospital. The suspects are still on the run. Phil Pendleton has the latest on who police are looking for.
Well, the crime happened Friday night, and police say that a teenage girl went to the home of a man that she knew. He let her in, but then two other men went in as well, and police say that's when the crime took place. Police say the 20-year-old man who answered the door for the teenager was beaten by the two men who followed the girl in. Then he was shot with his own gun.
He had a .22 caliber pistol in the residence. They found it and shot him in the hip and robbed him of his billfold and fled the scene.
The victim only had a small amount of cash in his wallet. The intruders left with that and the gun. Police say they're not exactly sure who the two men are, but they have a pretty good idea of who the teenager is.
The descriptions of the female and at least one of the male subjects that was involved fits the descriptions of a young lady who has been a juvenile runaway in this area.
The shooting victim was airlifted to UK hospital. Police don't think his injuries were life-threatening.
We really don't know whether this is just a robbery, but we do know that the robbery did occur. We're not sure whether they went there to assault him and to maybe harm him even more than that, and then to rob him as well.
Police say they are following up on several leads. They do believe that the three left in a 2000 model Cadillac in Laurel County. Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Police say the robbery was an isolated, targeted incident, and they do not believe the home was selected at random. A tragic fire in southern Kentucky this morning. State police say a Knott County man died after his apartment went up in flames. The fire happened just before 6 this morning on Highway 899 in the Pippa Passes community. The victim has been identified as 59-year-old Gene Burden. State police say Burden and his wife woke up and discovered the fire in their apartment, but only Burden's wife was able to make it out. And we are learning new details tonight about a deadly crash in McCreary County over the weekend. Troopers say 43-year-old Tony Myers was driving an ATV on Cal Hill Spur Road in the Pine Knot community when it crossed in front of a truck on US 27. Myers and his passenger, 45-year-old Geneva Reidner, were both killed. The driver of the truck was taken to a hospital in Somerset with minor injuries. Troopers believe alcohol played a factor in the crash. No luck today for crews in Spencer County. They've been searching Taylorsville Lake for a man last seen on Sunday. Investigators say 48-year-old Zoran Jeftik of Louisville was on a boat with his family when water started to come into the boat. They believe Jeftik's 15-year-old daughter was driving the boat while he was trying to plug the hole, causing the leak.
Don't know all of what happened, but part of the issue was that there was the plug was left out of the boat, so the boat was taking on water. They were trying to return to shore so they could get back on shore to get the water out of it.
The water in the area is murky. Crews believe it could be days before they find Jeftik's body. Charges against teenagers in Wayne County involved in a senior prank have been reduced. Nearly 20 teens were charged after police say they caused more than $1,000 in damage to Wayne County High School. Parents tell us the charges were reduced to misdemeanors this morning in Wayne District Court. The teens will have to perform 3 hours of community service and pay $80 in fines. A police report has revealed more details about the arrest of a UK basketball player. UK basketball player Derek Willis was arrested. The Boone County Sheriff's Office charged him with alcohol intoxication over the weekend. According to the arrest citation, a deputy found Willis lying in a street outside an open driver's side door of a car. The citation says Willis had passed out and had to be woken up. It says Willis admitted having a lot to drink and couldn't advise where he was other than in northern Kentucky. UK released a statement today saying it was aware of the situation and they're still gathering information. Stay with us on Fox 56. Up next, Apple announces some big changes, including a new job for Siri and emojis that can guess your mood. Then, so many people want to taste the rainbow that a Skittle-making factory has to expand. Microsoft gets LinkedIn, Apple Siri gets a new job, and a colorful candy becomes sought after. Here are 5 things to know before you go to bed.
Microsoft is now LinkedIn, literally. Today, Microsoft bought the social networking site LinkedIn for $26.2 billion. Microsoft's enterprise cloud services will merge with the site. Apple announced some big changes at the annual developers conference today. Some of the big changes, Macs will now come with Siri, the virtual assistant that you can find on iPhones. The mobile payment system, Apple Pay, is coming to the web. The messaging app will know the best emojis to use based on what you write, and to top it off, iOS 10 will be coming to iPhones and iPads. Software updates will come in the fall. It looks as though lots of people have been tasting the rainbow. Officials with the Wrigley Company, which manufactures Skittles, say demand for Skittles is so high they have to expand their factory in Yorkville, Illinois. For the first time, Skittles is the #1 non-chocolate candy in the United States. They're even being made in the colors red, white, and blue. The official name of this new variation, America's Mix. The city zoo in the Georgian capital of Tbilisi opened its doors free of charge to mark the first anniversary of devastating floods. A year ago, the floods killed 21 people, including 3 zoo staff, and also killed around half of its animals. Since then, a massive cleanup job has taken place, and zoos around the world have donated animals to help them recover. Long term, the plan is to relocate the zoo to a safer location on higher ground. A young boy in Indiana with a big heart looking for ways he can help other kids. 10-year-old Peter Greer is spending his summer vacation going to work with his mom at Union Street Auto Sales. But he has his own job to do, turning what was junk for one kid into treasure for another. Greer is collecting used bicycles and fixing them up, all to donate to other kids. There you go. 5 things to know before you go to bed.
Oh, so sweet. And those bikes come at a timely moment. It seems like they're more than just a gift, but really a symbol, Chris, of generosity when the world sure needs it most.
Oh, absolutely to that. And, you know, it's a good time for folks that have a bike to get out and take a little ride right now as well. Just gorgeous conditions here across central and eastern Kentucky on what was a superb weather Monday across the land. Look at the temperature difference, though, shaping up from east to west. 69 Ashland, 86 degrees in Owensboro right now, where we topped out middle 90s this afternoon. No thank you. Tomorrow, most of us will make a run toward 90 degrees. 64 current temperature into Prestonsburg, low and mid 70s into parts of central Kentucky as of now. Fox radar picture. Nothing on the home front to our west and southwest, though. We had some thunderstorms around Bowling Green to Nashville earlier. Watching some more storms that are developing here in the sections of Illinois and southwestern Indiana. Whatever's out here is going to make its way on to the north and northeast. And what's out there? Steamy temperatures and scattered storms. That basically is your Tuesday in a nutshell. A lot of us will hit 90, especially central Kentucky. Watch the second half of Wednesday into Wednesday evening. Could be some strong thunderstorms out there. 84 degrees, 90 again. Chance for a thunderstorm on Thursday. Cold front arrives. Temperatures take a dive into the weekend. Looks really, really good by that time, Erica.
All right, thanks, Chris. On the way, we head to Kentucky Speedway and speak with the drivers as they check out the new surface. And John Calipari is on a committee to help with issues with the NCAA tournament. And the Wildcats have a new baseball coach. Brian Milam has the Fox 56 Sports Extra next.
This portion of the 10 o'clock. Time now for the Fox 56 Sports Extra.
This afternoon, Kentucky announced the hiring of Mississippi State assistant coach Nick Minjone as the new baseball coach of the Wildcats. If that name sounds familiar at all, there's a pretty good reason why. Minjone spent 2 seasons in Lexington as an assistant coach under John Cohen during 2006 and 2007. He left for Western Carolina before rejoining Cohen again at Mississippi State from 2009 through this past season. Minjone was the recruiting coordinator for the Bulldogs, winning 2 SEC titles, 5 NCAA appearances, and a College World Series appearance in 2013. Here's a quick resume of Minjone, who had been with John Cohen 10 of the past 11 seasons. His time in Lexington during that 2006-2007 stint saw the Wildcats win its only SEC title in 06 and a total of 78 wins in those 2 seasons. Now, who's he going to have in the bullpen? Kentucky relief pitcher Sean Jelly, Justin Lewis, who combined for 6 wins and all 12 of the team's saves this past year. They've been named freshman All-Americans by Collegiate Baseball. The 6'11 3/4-inch Jelly went 4-1 with 8 saves, a 3.74 ERA. All of his wins came in the SEC. Lewis went 2-0 with 4 saves and at one point this season threw 21 consecutive shutout innings. Well, the Reds are terrible on the road. The Braves are terrible at home. Something's got to give, right? And I give it up to the Shively slugger, Adam Duvall. A 2-run shot, his 18th of the year. Oh, not bad for a Butler Bear, huh? The Braves take the lead of the 5th. Don't confuse him with Freddie Fender. That's Freddie Freeman. Get some good wood on that one. His 10th of the year. We've got a shootout. 7-6 Atlanta. It's 8-7 Reds when the Braves do it again. Adonis Garcia gets some serious bat speed and whips out a solo homer to left. We are tied again at 8-8. The Reds win it in the 9th on baseball's most exciting play, the bases loaded walk. Redlegs take it 9-8. John Calipari not happy with the number 4 seed in the NCAA tournament this past season, but now Calipari will have a greater voice on that topic. Cal, one of several coaches and administrators who have been chosen to examine the NCAA men's basketball tournament selection system. This committee will work with the NCAA in the coming weeks to discuss selection, seeding, bracketing processes, things like that. Last month, UK Athletics Director Mitch Barnhart was selected as a member of the NCAA Division I basketball committee, so a lot of UK input this year. More details coming out about the arrest of UK forward Derek Willis over the weekend. Willis was found passed out in the street outside of a vehicle he was arrested in inside Boone County last Saturday. The deputy who arrested Willis said he had a lot to drink and could not advise where he was other than to say Northern Kentucky. Last season, Willis averaged 7 points, 4 rebounds in 32 games. He shot a pretty good 44% from three-point range. The Golden State Warriors can make it 2 NBA titles in 2 seasons with a victory tonight at home against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Warriors without all-star swingman Draymond Green, who's suspended for this game because of just about a few flagrant fouls. Too darn many, about 4 of them. Right now, we're in the third. Cavaliers trying to take it on the road. They lead 71-66. Huge game tonight from LeBron James. Kentucky Speedway had a unique feature to its racing surface. It was the bumpiest in the business, but not anymore. Lee K. Howard has drivers' reactions to the new track.
When NASCAR arrives in Kentucky in just a few weeks for the Quaker State 400, it will be a completely different racing surface for these drivers. Recently, the Speedway went under complete renovation, repaving the entire 1.5-mile oval. And while some always liked the character, maybe even preferred the character and bumps of the Kentucky Speedway, a repave was necessary, especially for drainage purposes. But not every driver was a fan of the repave.
You know, this is certainly one of those places that we all did not want to see repaved, but you know, with some of the circumstances that we had with trying to dry the surface during rain delays, essentially the weepers were just so bad that we could never get it dry enough.
This track was definitely known for its character and its bumps, and a lot of teams took pride in if their car can get over bumps. You know, that's a good part, but I think, you know, I think everyone would admit they loved the racetrack before, but you kind of have to admit it was time to do something different. When it takes 3 or 4 hours to dry a track, it's kind of an inconvenience.
The drivers I spoke to talked about the character that's always been here at Kentucky Speedway, and while that character may be gone, it'll still have character, just a different kind. Here at the Kentucky Speedway in Sparta, Lee K. Howard for the Fox 56 Sports Extra.
Another kind of horsepower Hall of Fame jockey, Russell Bayes, racing's all-time winning rider, announced his retirement today, effective today at Santa Anita Park. He won 12,842 races in North America. That is a look at sports. We'll be right back.
If you have a news tip, call our hotline at 859-299-8630.
Looks like you have some storm systems creeping in later this week.
Yeah, next couple of days we will at least see some scattered storms around. Best chance comes late Wednesday into Wednesday evening. Could be talking about some strong or even severe thunderstorms. Next few days, humidity levels off the charts. It's going to feel like the tropics. We are just missing the beach as we go through Thursday. By the weekend, it gets a whole lot better. Some sun, low humidity, and temperatures in the low 80s.
That weekend does look pretty nice.
It really does, yep.
Good. Well, thanks for being with us tonight. Have a great rest of your evening.
Right after the end.